What would you do if you had 5%, just 5% more self-esteem than you do now?
Moving forward with the Dekker Team. Moving forward together with the Dekker Team.
We've created for you over 367 inside track episodes that are on our Dekker Team YouTube channel that really you can access anywhere, anytime, not anyhow, I guess. You've got to plug into your computer to do that, right? Where we really provide insight on real estate, insider tips, how to make house, home, and general wealth building techniques, as well as just how to live the best life possible.
Mm-hmm. You know, that question was asked to me at a retreat recently. I was in Mexico and doing a breakthrough retreat where I do self-development for myself because I can only help people to the level that I grow myself.
Right. Well, even facilitating. I mean, that's what we do at Roar Canada. And you can't facilitate a session well if you haven't been down the journey before, right? So on this show or on this episode, they're going to learn how to get 5% more self-esteem.
Yeah.
Because that's what you learned. And you've learned it again and again and again. So now you should have 1,000% more self-esteem.
Well, you might think that. And it's one of those words, self-esteem is a tricky word because it conjures up the thought of pride.
Yeah, it does.
And pride goes before a fall. And, you know, God doesn't like our pride.
Well, I don't like your pride either. And I don't think you like mine.
Okay, perfect. So there's a level of pride because, you know, you might be proud of your child's accomplishment. I'm proud of your work with Roar Canada, the evidence of change that you have had in people's lives.
Well, I'm just going to stop you real quick there. Mm-hmm. They have the change themselves and God facilitates the change. I just sometimes get to do a setup. Yeah, just like you sometimes get to do a setup, right?
So
and yet I don't change nobody because how hard is it for me to change me?
You can't change anybody.
No.
Okay. But I'm proud of you for being willing to stand for people's transformation. And sometimes when people are transforming, they can actually get mean.
I know. I've done it to my coaches and I've had people do it with me. It's just part of it's difficult.
Yes. And as a coach, you learn to not absorb it, almost like, okay, I'll just tip over a little bit and let Jesus absorb that because I'm not meant to take it. It's not about me.
Right.
It's about them fighting through their transformation.
Right. So it's really another word that I like to use instead of pride is I'll say, what am I grateful for? What am I thankful for? Like, what are those things that I want to celebrate that have come into my life? And that helps me lessen the impact because then I don't even have to think pride.
So humility and self-esteem, humility really means I know who God is and I'm not God. And self-esteem says, I was made in God's image, so therefore he likes me. When he created man, he said, oh, this is very good, right? And I think we say that about our children too, because we kind of, with God's help, create them.
Yeah.
And we think they're awesome. Mm-hmm. So back to self-esteem. So 5% more. What would you do is what they asked me. What would you do if you had 5% more self-esteem? Not 100% more, not 50% more, just 5% more. Like that kind of little, I call it a quantum movement, right? Quantum move, 5% more self-esteem.
Right. And quantum means little. And I used to think it meant huge. And it doesn't.
It's like an oxymoron, like quantum leap is like jumbo shrimp. Quantum is like quantum physics is super fine, small, microscopic.
Increments. Yeah, exactly. Yes. Which is really cool. So 5% more confidence in our ability, 5% more willingness to know what we're good at, which also means knowing what we're not good at is really what we're talking about when we're using the word self-esteem. So I'm going to encourage you, if you're getting hung up on the word, maybe not. Because it's the idea that just 5% more willingness to risk being yourself.
It can be even confidence in yourself, And really, we talked in the previous segment about the negative self-talk, that chatter. If you have higher self-esteem, you won't beat yourself up quite as much because you believe in yourself and you have the powerful chatter going in your brain.
And you believe in the ability that's been put in you.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can let that go. So 5% more, how do you access that?
Well, first of all, you got to write down what you would do. And for me, I would reach out to more real estate agents and invite them into our Solid Rock company and the fantastic model that we have.
Ownership model, right?
Yeah, ownership model. I would complete my second and third book. Things of that nature, right? I would be a better service to people. I would show up more alive, more gregarious, more charismatic, rather than
shrinking away because you're feeling that you have nothing to offer in that moment.
Right.
The self-talk is not serving you; it's getting in your way.
So then I cluster, I cocoon, I go inside and protect myself,
and not cocoon so you can be transformed.
No,
more hide out.
Yes,
so you can't be seen.
Right.
Got it.
You're a tough coach.
We're having fun with this, aren't we?
Oh yeah, one of us is.
So to increase your self-esteem, 5%. Yes. You know what you would do.
Okay. This is where it gets really simple. To increase your self-esteem 5%, do one of those things.
Well, you don't have to do one of his things.
No.
Do one of the things that came up for you. So if you have a pen or paper or you're able to take notes right now, this is actually a time.
Not if you're driving.
No, if you're not driving. Or maybe you can speak into your cell phone because you now have voice activated.
Yes,
you can tell Siri to take a note.
Take a note, Siri.
I've done it. Take a note, Siri. And the note is, this is what I would do with 5% more self-esteem. Because that's the first step, right? We got to identify what would you do. You don't want to do Ken's goals.
No.
He will.
Right.
Perfect. And then step 2.
That's it.
Go do it.
Go do it.
Right? First, identify it.
Yeah.
And then go
But when you do it, you will have evidence and have more self-esteem in your abilities.
Right. And then we can take this back to episode or part 1 when we talked about pressing play on the powerful thought. Sometimes I have rented lips.
Yeah,
they don't work that well, but that's okay. That's not a problem. It doesn't make us take a cut and start over again. It means we just keep going because it's part of my human condition to trip on my tongue from time to time. So
that would mean it would be really long tongue if you trip on it. Thanks. That's a weird saying, isn't it?
It is actually. Anyhow, pressing play on the negative and pressing pause on the negative, play on the powerful. And once you have evidence, you know what to press play on. That's the powerful thought that you can then incorporate.
Mm-hmm. And when you get enough evidence, it starts to be in the mind, there's a plasticity in the mind, and you can actually build a highway of the positive thoughts, just like you built a highway for the negative thoughts. And the only way to turn that highway is into a gravel road that doesn't get traveled much is to stop that replay.
Exactly. So thanks for growing alongside us, because we are incredibly passionate at the Dekker Team, really just to help each of us become the best versions of ourselves, because then we get to help each other and our families thrive.
Moving forward with the Dekker Team.